Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I think maybe one of the best things I can do is recite a quote. And there's many quotes in regards to the Conservative plan. But the one that spoke to me actually came from the industry analyst Tom Ventitus. And I quote from him what he had to say about the Conservative plan. Quote,
what did he say?
They don't seem very well thought out. It's an argument that I don't think he understands will not work. So whether it's that quote or the insult that particularly the leader of the Conservative Party did to the auto industry workers by not having consultations, not working with the workers before he announced the plan, I'm wondering if he could formally apologize for incorporating, albeit a faulty plan, but not consulting with the workers.
The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Breaking news, hot off the presses. He wants to talk about workers. We have here the president of Oshawa Unifor Local 222. Finally, a common sense plan to protect the livelihood of thousands of Ontario auto workers. A plan that restores past production levels and secures a long-term future for their workers. Thank you.
Questions and comments, questions et commentaires. Avant que je reconnaisse le...
Before I recognize the Honourable Member for Rivière-du-Nord, this is maybe a good moment to remind all members.
In order to ask questions, just a reminder to members, you have to be in your seat, properly attired, suit and tie, in order to be recognized. Ceci dit,
that having been said, the Honourable Member for Rivière-du-Nord. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thank our colleague for his speech. I'd like to know, we're talking about the Auto Pact, but you know that right now we are a little bit more concerned by the question of air pollution, and second, by the fact that we have an oil shortage. We're going to be lacking oil. We have trouble getting a supply for the reasons that we all know. Would it not be a good opportunity to use this situation to turn towards green technology and focus on producing 100% electric vehicles here in Canada? The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition. Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Member from the Bloc Québécois says that we have an oil shortage. Well, that's exactly what we're saying. That's why we want more production of oil and gas so that we can provide the world with the most ethical, the greenest, the most responsible oil in the world and export that to the world. And we want to export that Canadian oil. That would allow us to have a stronger dollar, that would help us at the groceries, and it would help us at the gas pump, including in Quebec. It would bring in more revenues for the government that would come from industry and not from taxpayers' pockets, including in Quebec. It would allow us to have more demand for machinery made in Quebec for the rest of Canada because we have a pan-Canadian economy, and we need to build a reserve, a strategic oil reserve, and also reserves of other resources so that we can increase our bargaining power and our leverage faced with our rivals around the world. That way we can be affordable at home, masters in our own house.
Comments, questions et commentaires. The Honourable Member for Dufferin-Caledon.
The industry minister has said some strange things like, we're going to build the cars that the world wants and export them. Number one, I wonder if the Leader of the Opposition has any idea which markets that the industry minister might be talking about that we would export these fantasy cars to. And number two, they talk about bringing investment into Canada with new manufacturing facilities. Can the Leader of the Opposition think of any auto manufacturer that would come and do production in Canada, new production, while there are still 25% tariffs on all autos sent to the United States?
Leader of the Official Opposition.
All the automakers have made clear that one of the great advantages of building in Canada is having access to the biggest and most lucrative market on planet Earth. 90% of the automobiles we make go to the United States. In fact, more of the automobiles that we make are bought by Americans than bought by Canadians. We sell 95 times more vehicles to the Americans than we sell to overseas markets. suddenly replacing 90 or 95% of our production with imaginary markets that the Prime Minister dreams up in his illusions is a dangerous path that threatens the 600,000 direct and indirect jobs in our automotive sector. Effectively, when the Liberals say that we are simply going to make electric vehicles for overseas markets, we don't, other than I think 1 or 2 lines, we don't make those cars in Canada for final assembly. We don't do the final assembly, and we don't have those overseas markets. And by the way, the Prime Minister somehow thinks that he is going to overturn Chinese production, which is massively subsidized to the point where they can sell at enormous artificial discounts. He's going to overturn that artificial Chinese advantage in markets where we don't sell with cars we don't make. Mr. Speaker, that is an illusion and a hallucination.
Questions and comments. Questions et commentaires. L'honorable.
The Honourable Member for Mont-Saint-Bruno-L'Acadie. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a question for the Leader of the Official Opposition. Why proposing a new auto pact when our government has already put in place measures to protect the sector and jobs? Is he not asking Parliament to do work twice when we've already moved forward to protect this sector? The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition. I'd like to thank the Honourable Member for his question. We've seen the results of this Liberal government. Since it's come to power, we have seen half of our automobile production disappear. And a big part of that loss was when the current finance minister was the industry minister responsible for that sector. This isn't a new government. And since this prime minister has come to power, we've lost another 7.3% of our production under these Liberals. And worse, we are seeing the possibility of massive losses that could come if we don't end the tariffs. That's why I have a plan to eliminate the tariffs in both directions to have real free trade for our auto sector so that we can be stronger and have a bigger industry.
Comments, questions et commentaires. Honorable député de Jonquière.
The Honourable Member for Jonquière. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The only advantage that Quebec has with the auto sector is if there are electric vehicles on our roads. And if we consume more electricity, that way Quebecers will get something out of it. The official opposition leader, we know how he feels about Quebec. Just look at Don Cherry and how the official opposition leader is supporting him becoming a member of the Order of Canada, despite all the terrible things that he's said about Quebec in the past. He's even been called to order by certain of his members. Could his members remind him that electric cars are still available with a rebate in Quebec? The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition. Mr. Speaker, electric cars are available, and anyone who wants an electric car is able to buy one. And that's the free market. I trust Quebecers. I want to give them the choice. The Bloc Québécois and that member wants to force Quebecers. There are certain regions where electric cars just don't work. They need their trucks, and Quebecers choose individually the Ford F-150 as their favorite car. That's reality. That's their choice. Obviously, we believe in freedom, and we believe in the intelligence of Quebecers to make their own decisions. The Bloc Québécois wants to take away that choice and force Quebecers to make one decision. We'll allow Quebecers to choose for themselves.
Questions et commentaires. The Honourable Member Hamilton East, Stony Creek.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We heard a lot of things in the House today on this debate, and we didn't actually hear too much of what their plan is. But I do have a quote, since we are speaking of quotes. The parliamentary secretary did say that he will continue to wait it out. That is a part of their plan and strategy. Now, that doesn't go very well for the Hamilton auto parts sector, so I would like to ask my honourable colleague to highlight some points of an actual plan that will get workers back to work.
Hear, hear.
The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
The Liberal parliamentary secretary says to workers who have lost their jobs, wait it out. The Liberals say to the workers in Brampton who are locked out of their workplace, wait it out. The Liberals say to the 8.3% unemployment, the market in Windsor that are unemployed, just wait it out. Wait it out. And one day this rupture, they Liberals say, will result in some sort of a repair with some other market that will one day lead to an imaginary job. Mr. Speaker, we don't think that workers should have to wait it out. We think they should have tariff-free trade, they should have jobs, we should repatriate our production, and most important of all, we as Conservatives have a real plan to do it.